Well, here we are again, another week in America. And you know what that means?
Another school shooting.
Yeah.
School hasn't been in session for what? It had been in session for a week,
A
maybe?
week, a few weeks. I mean, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I agree or disagree with what J.D. Vance said, where he had said that, well, the school shootings are just a fact of life.
The facts of life. Yeah.
I mean, that sort of is true, in a way. I mean, but it's also kind of dismissive to say that because that means it's acceptable.
Then why try to force people to have kids?
Well, true.
If they just have the possibility of growing up and dying at school.
And before we get into the facts of this case, what he had said was, well, what we need is more security in the schools. But my question is...
It hasn't worked yet.
To Mr. Vance, you're all about eliminating the Department of Education, right? Trump had a rally yesterday in Wisconsin, and he stated that they want to get rid of the Department of Education. They want to defund public schools. So where is the money for security going to come from?
That's their plan. If they can just get rid of the schools, they get rid of the shootings because they don't have schools anymore.
Well, that's true. If you're not sending your kids to school...
They can't get shot.
I guess that's a valid point.
Okay. Republican logic.
Yeah. And then...
How is that a solution, though?
It always comes back to mental health, right? That's the second thing. The number one, the problem is security. Number two, the problem is mental health, which, yes, it is. But didn't the Democrats try to pass a bill last year to increase funding in public schools for mental health issues? And every Republican voted against it?
Well, that's your problem right there.
Republicans?
No. Well, yeah, but you said Democrats tried to pass a bill. You're not going to get the Republicans to vote for it.
No matter how logical it
No
sounds.
No matter what it is.
Whether it's border security.
Right. My point exactly. There was a border bill. Did any Republicans vote for it?
No, it didn't even make it to a vote.
Yeah, they were told by their fierce
to kill the bill.
Orange leader, to not vote anything on the border until he gets elected, correct?
Right. And this rehashes a thing that we usually have to say over and over again on the podcast, that this is not some liberal crazy thinking that we're making up. These are facts, just like facts of life that you can look up, just like school shootings.
Them up.
You can look it up. These things actually happened.
It might take a while, but you can look them up. You might have to go to more than one fucking site on the internet because let me tell you, it's not easy to look things up lately, but you can find it.
Okay, and in this particular case, again, we don't say the name of any mass shooter on the show. We don't want to give him any notoriety.
I kind of wanted to discuss his name, though. Did his father name him father and
after
mother?
A firearm manufacturer?
Yes, after, yeah.
Yeah.
Because his name is Colt. I mean, isn't there
Yeah, Colt firearm. Colt is the main firearm company that makes the AR-15 style rifle.
I mean, this family is really the poster family for white trash. They really are when you look up their background too.
Yeah, so I feel a little bit sorry for the kid, but part of me doesn't, because this kid is a fucking monster. He would have grown up to be a narcissistic asshole like his fucking father.
Right.
Just a piece of shit.
Right. I mean, I'm just glad that they are going after the parents now. This is the second one that we've had where they've gone after the parents because they went after the parents in the Michigan one. They should go after the parents in every single fucking one.
Yeah.
You are responsible for that demon spawn that you created.
Well,
okay.
Particularly in this case, because it's not the first time that this kid has made threats. He went on this site called Discord, which my kids use. It's like the, social media outlet for kids that don't like Facebook and stuff like that. And that's how they communicate on Discord. And his screen name, I believe, was the shooter of Sandy Hook.
Mm. So he was planning this.
He was planning this. Yes, the FBI investigated him last year for this, for making threats on Discord. Mm-hmm. So the FBI came in, the kid denied it. And what does the dad do? What would you do as a responsible parent that your kid talks about shooting up a school? What's maybe the last thing you should buy him for Christmas?
Well, his dad's probably like, if he's going to shoot up a school, he's going to need a firearm. He's going to need an AR-15, right?
Yeah.
His dad was thinking, well, I'm going to help him out, I guess.
Yeah. So the dad buys him an AR-15, knowing that his kid had these thoughts in his head.
First off, why are you buying your kid that expensive of a Christmas gift too? Aren't they like a few $1,000s?
If you get a good one, yeah. But you can get like the cheap ones for probably about $600-700.
That's still a lot of money for a Christmas present.
I don't know if your kid really wants it. I mean,
all he is gonna do is keep bothering me for it. I might as well just crack down and get it for him. Okay,
and since, you and I gained notoriety in this town because of our stance on guns, which, again, we're not anti-gun, but we're
not. We're for responsible gun owners.
Yeah, so that is just not responsible. Second, okay, I don't think there's any reason for someone under 18 to have an AR-15.
No.
Any reason.
You don't even buy... People aren't even out there, maybe some folks, maybe like rich folks, but there's not a whole lot of people out there even buying vehicles for their children who are only 14. Yeah. Because they can't drive yet anyways.
Yeah, they're not responsible enough to drive.
Right. Like, what in the fuck?
You can't smoke. I don't know. There's a lot of things you can't do when you're fucking 14.
You can't smoke. You can't drink. You can't... Technically, he can't watch a rated R movie. I mean, not at the theater anyways.
True. Yeah, he can't even go to a rated R movie.
I mean, he can watch whatever he wants at his own house, I guess, because his dad's just like, whatever you want, son, I got you.
Fuck. So, again, people say it's not a gun issue. There is a gun issue in this country. There is. And the gun issue is, why the fuck do we glorify them so much?
I personally think that Hollywood does have a responsibility in that. Now, I'm going to say that people should at least be smart enough to know that that's a movie and not real life, but people just aren't that fucking smart anymore these days. Like, they have some kind of thing in their head, too, where it's like, because they've seen it a million times in a movie that the hero saves the day, the good guy with the gun is the one that wins. That's not real life, though. That's not.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
Real life isn't John Wick.
Yeah. It's not. It's not any of the movies.
Yeah. And again, not for taking anyone's gun away. I love guns. I when I was 11, 12 years old, I was given a gun. I was taught how to shoot, how to be responsible with it. On it, I was taught the dangers of what firearms could do. My grandfather killed himself with a firearm. So, yeah, I knew that. And...
Well, that's how most people kill themselves, too, is with a gun.
It's a tricky thing. What I'm trying to say is, like, You've seen the people with their Christmas photos and they gather around the Christmas tree and mom and dad and all the kids have the AR-15s in front of the Christmas tree.
Well, in some families, yeah.
Don't you think that's a little fucking weird? And we're glorifying guns?
It's extremely fucking weird. What do your AR-15s have to do with the Christmas spirit?
Merry Christmas will blow your fucking head off.
Like, first off, I don't remember, if we're saying that Christmas is all about Jesus and everything, I don't remember Jesus having an AR-15. I don't remember, like, the three wise men standing there completely packing.
Yeah,
I don't remember that those kind of guns even existed in those times.
Although, if Jesus had an AR-15, they might not have been able to crucify him.
So, I guess it was Jesus' fault.
Yeah.
Jesus, if only.
If only he had that AR-15. If only he was packing that day.
Now you got a ton of rednecks going, if I could build myself a time machine and go back in time, I would give Jesus my AR-15 and then he would not have been crucified.
Yeah. I don't know. And then you have politicians, especially in Georgia, where this happened. Winda, Georgia. You have a lot of politicians down there that tend to like to blow shit up in their political ads.
Like MTG. She blew up a Prius with the AR-15, right?
Yeah. And there was this other guy that
This is what I think about liberals.
There was this other guy, I think it was a guy that was running for governor also, did a commercial where he had a gun.
Was it Brian Kemp?
I think so.
Oh, okay, so he's the current governor.
Yeah. I don't know.
Nice.
I don't know. I guess when you glorify guns like that, I don't know. Fucking, you don't see every other country, doing it. And, don't come at me with, well, in Paris, they'll just attack you with a knife, Okay, well, you can run from somebody with a knife in most cases.
Or the person with the knife can pretty much get tackled a lot, too. I mean, that's happened, too.
And, again, I'm not saying take anyone's guns away. But in this particular case, this could have been prevented. The mom even got a text from the kid beforehand and said, I'm sorry, Mom. And she immediately called the school because she was afraid of what he was going to do. The school got this text beforehand. Okay? Why didn't they lock that school down? So the kid gets up.
Because freedoms.
The kid gets up in the middle of class, asks to be excused, goes to his locker, comes back, and in this school, door locks, and you have to be let back in. And a student got up to let the kid back in, saw the gun, told everybody to get down, and so he saw like an open door, so he shut up that classroom instead.
Oh.
It's just fucking mind-boggling. Why didn't the fucking mom tell the dad, hey, I don't fucking think this is an appropriate gift for our kid that is obviously troubled? I know.
Your guess is as good as mine. It's baffling.
Baffling. So this one could have been prevented. It could have been fucking prevented.
Totally.
And the other thing, because, again, to feel sorry for this kid or not, how the fuck does he even get back into public school after making that threat? They can do homeschooling, online learning. Hey, you just stay at home. And people will say, well, that's kind of, you're isolating the kid. He should be isolated.
If they would have done that, he probably would have committed a different type of mass shooting, like where it wouldn't have been in the school.
Yeah.
I mean.
Oh yeah, he could have tried to take out the president or something like that.
Because you're obviously not gonna get his dad to not supply him with firearms. I mean, his dad was gung ho on getting him the gun. Like, he's already got the product he needs to go do whatever it is that he's planning on doing. He's got the supply.
I don't know. Maybe they should even have licenses to have kids.
Yeah.
Because these parents were.
Well, remember that from that movie Parenthood?
Yeah.
Like Keanu Reeves? He's like, you have to have a license to drive a car. You even need to have a license to catch a fish. But they'll let any butt-reaming asshole become a dad or whatever. I think that's what he said. I can't. It's been forever since I've seen that movie, so I don't know if that was the exact name he called. But it's true. Like, if you can jizz inside of a chick without protection, you too can be a dad. Woohoo!
Right.
And they act like it's some major accomplishment.
And if that woman doesn't want to have him, then she's
bad.
Forced to.
You will have that loser's kid.
We're gonna have serial killers one way or the other.
Right? Is that what it is? Like they're like. But think of all the great Netflix and other documentary shows we can have on serial killers later.
Well, I mean, we do like to watch those. So.
I do, because it's like, how do people get like this? And most of the times you watch, they have extremely disturbing background family issues.
Like this kid.
Yeah.
This kid is the perfect example of that. And the other thing I got a little bit of flack for saying on this one is, I was kind of like, well, why are we even having this conversation? Because things aren't going to change.
Right. Why'd you get flack on that? It's the truth.
Because they said, I refuse to believe that we're not going to be able to change things. I'm like, no, we're not going to until.
Tell me when we've had steps in the right direction. Go ahead, I'll wait.
Now, see. If I was like, say, Harris or something like that, I would sit down for a national town hall and have a discussion on this. And you invite the NRA, okay? You invite the Republicans, and you have this conversation. And in the audience, you have people that have survived school shootings or mass shootings or whatever, and you have a serious conversation on, okay, then how do we do this? And you make all the people in Congress and the Senate sit down and watch this too and be like, okay, how do we work? Okay, you want more security? Okay, how are we going to fund that? You want more mental health? Okay, how are we going to fund that? And the majority of Americans are for sensible gun control laws. A sensible gun control law in this particular case would be no one under 18 can have an AR-15. What's so outlandish about that? I'm not saying if you're over 18 you can have one.
Right.
Background checks. Okay? Sensible background checks. Okay, like, I see on the FBI investigated you a couple years ago talking about shooting up a school. Maybe you should not be allowed to have one. What is wrong with that? That's all I'm saying.
Right, but okay, with regards to that though, so the dad's the one that bought the kid the gun.
Okay.
How would there be a flag for
then
then
you back part of the background check is people that live in your household, right?
Right.
Okay. Oh, I see that you had a son that threatened to shoot up a school.
Yeah, like you probably shouldn't have one of these guns in the house because
right, like when you go to sign a lease, right, and you have to list who's going to live in that house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, kind of the same type of thing.
They don't like the gun nuts and the folks in Congress for two separate different reasons. The folks in Congress, they get money from the NRA. The gun nuts, they love the fuck out of their guns. Okay, which is fine. But, neither one of those groups want to deal with anything getting in the way of them having easy access to what they want. And they don't give a fuck if other people can't handle it.
But the majority of people that have these guns would be able to pass these background checks.
But the majority people, the people in the majority also don't have a problem with all these other things either. But
Well, I mean,
I don't think we understand. I think we're starting to realize more and more just how powerful the NRA actually is. That's my 2 cents on it.
Now, I tried to look it up. I couldn't really find it. I would think that the NRA would have... They would be opposed to the parent getting charged. I would believe that would be their stance. Now, I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, so we probably shouldn't say.
No, we're not saying that they did. So far, there's no stance. But right. I would imagine, especially in Georgia, that they're going to have a hard time finding the parent guilty.
So what? Let him go fucking get on trial anyways. I hope they find him guilty, but it's like, at least let his ass get dragged through all that. If they decide not to find him guilty because they're Georgia, then so be it. I mean, we have to also go by our judicial process too.
Yeah.
I mean,
true.
If he does happen to get off, but it's not like it's not a huge pain in the ass to have to deal with all that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So it's like, at least for the love of God, make them have to go through that, though, if they're going to be supplying their children with fucking firearms. I hope he gets found guilty, though, and I hope he goes to prison, honestly. Because it is your fault. It's your fault, and it's also your son's fault. I'm not sitting there saying that the boy has no fault in it at all. No, it is your fault, because you decided to take the gun to school and kill people. That was your plan. But it's your fucking dad's fault for supplying you.
Yeah.
Giving you the drugs you need to go do whatever you were going to do.
Especially the background.
Like, the dad's basically like a drug dealer, too. I mean...
Yeah. So, being a dead horse on this subject, the other fact of life is just the media that we've been going on over the last few weeks and stuff like that.
Oh, well, I was going to transition to staying on the school topic, to Oklahoma, since we're already discussing schools.
Okay.
And how the Oklahoma has moved to teaching the Bible in public schools.
Okay.
Because they have a state superintendent, Ryan Walters, has mandated it. So I had trouble looking up on the stats.
Regardless if the family's Christian or not.
Right. And I wanted to look up stats because I'm like, why can't the Bible just be taught in church? I don't understand it, right?
Yeah, or at home.
So I was like, looked up stats of how many churches we have versus schools that we have in the United States. According to Hartford Institute for Religious Research, there are approximately 300,000 churches in the United States. They did not have an exact number. And according to the NCES, National Center for Educational Statistics, there are 130,930 K through 12 schools in the U.S. as of 2020.
So
they actually had the exact number and the year.
Almost 3 times the churches.
And the religious assholes have the audacity, the Christians, I should probably say, have the audacity to think that their Bible needs to be taught in public schools.
Okay, now...
And you are outnumbering the schools already.
No, here's the thing. On that note, though, if the school is properly funded and you meet the needs of the school, I would have no problem with a Bible study class in public school that wasn't elective.
Right, elective or like after school things, something like that. Oh yeah,
Bible studies.
But not mandated in your curriculum.
Yeah. Oh, no.
They're already dumbing the fuck down on people. Like, they don't need to take some of the time during the day and devote that to Bible studies when there's people who need to know math better? They need to know English better. They need to know science better.
How about civics?
Civics. Yeah. Why isn't there anyone advocating for no? You know what we should have in lieu of religious studies in public schools? I got no problem with religious studies in private schools. But in public schools, we should have civics to teach how the government works, to teach about the separation
Of church and
of
state?
church and state. Yeah. That might be good. That might be useful.
And how the founding fathers came out and said they had Christian values, but this is in no way a Christian nation, and we should not have that in the Constitution.
Right. Most of the founding fathers were deists. They believed in a God, but they believed that the God did not interfere with daily life, had nothing to do with it.
And again, these are facts, people. You can look this shit up.
It sounds like the founding fathers' God was a lot more about personal freedom too. Like today's, shouldn't just say Republicans because there's ultra religious Dems too, and other people on the spectrum as well, like the independents and all that. But it seems like they're more about a God that is intrusive, like that doesn't want you to live your life out.
You shall not do this. You shall not do that.
Well, those have always been rules, but I'm just saying, like back before the founding fathers were considered deists. They believed in deism, where it's like, yes, there's a higher power, but he does not get involved with our personal life. Today's Christians are like, nope, he's there every step of the way, telling you, looking over your shoulder, telling you what you're doing wrong.
Right,
and that you're going to hell.
Like I like to watch NASCAR, right? And then you'll have a few of the drivers they're religious, and they'll get like, yes, well, praise Jesus that he allowed us to have this day. Yeah, Jesus
took time out of his day.
Jesus made your car go faster than anyone else.
To watch NASCAR and make sure that you won.
Wouldn't Jesus be pissed that you were watching a race and swearing at the TV on his day?
Right. Well, it's kind of like, too, how the right recently said, that Jesus basically shielded Trump from getting more wounded during his mass shooting.
Right. So
Jesus saved Trump, but he was like, I'm good with these two kids and two teachers fucking dying. I'm good with that. I'm not going to step in to save them.
Or all the little kids in Sandy Hook.
Or any of the mass shootings. He wasn't there to save any of them, but by golly, he was there to save Trump. Because
Trump is doing his work.
The Lord's work, don't you know?
Because who knows what God is.
Don't you know?
And I don't know. I mean, I suppose there'd be more money in schools for security if they weren't paying for their, sexual transition surgeries.
Oh, that happened like on the lunch break?
On the lunch break. Yeah, like
Donald Trump.
Like you go to see that grumpy nurse, who
now you can not only ask for a Band-Aid for your cut, you can completely go and get a sexual reassignment surgery, according to the right.
And little Jimmy comes home as little Joni by 3:00.
I know. One-stop shopping.
Dude, this isn't fucking happening. And it sounds fucking insane, and it sounds fucking weird.
And then you're just like, who? Who is that dumb to believe that? Who is that fucking stupid to believe that? Now, we know the answer to that because we know people who do believe it. But it's like, how can you be that fucking dumb?
Yeah. And when has a drag queen, gone to a school library to read to kids and killed 30 of them? When has that ever happened?
Never.
Okay.
Never.
So
it's never happened.
Yeah.
If you don't believe us, look it up. It has never happened.
Right. Look up school shooting deaths as opposed to drag queen mass murders. Yeah, you're going to find one is higher than the other.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just insane. It's insane that you can say stuff like that at a campaign rally. Okay. But Harris is a liar. Right? And how come the media doesn't give the same scrutiny to saying, because Donald Trump said that. He said that.
Uh-huh.
So he said little kids are going to school and they come back having sexual transition surgeries. He said that.
The media acts like nothing to see here.
They don't report it.
Because they want their fucking tax breaks. They want their higher ratings. They fucking want him to be president.
Okay.
Do you know how hard it was? Like, I got 2 different clips to show a difference. Like, when, how we're talking about how the media is terrible. Do you know how hard it is to find clips? That's just the clips. Not some asshole adding their 2 cents into it. Right. You can find them all day long, easy as pie, if you're looking up shit on Trump. It's out there everywhere, the clips. When I tried to do the same thing to look up clips for Harris, it took me at least 20 minutes to find it. And that was of me listening for a little bit to see if some jerk off was going to come in and make their points. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay, so what they're criticizing Harris on a lot of the time is she has no substance to her policy issues. Okay, that's what they claim.
Mm-hmm. They're saying she has no plans.
She has no plans
for what it is that she says she's going to do.
Okay. So I would take it you have a case where she actually describes her plan?
Yes. Whose plan would you like to hear first? Because I'll play both of their plans.
Let's start. Let's do good cop, good cop, bad cop, and let's play someone who actually has a policy plan.
Okay, so we're starting with positive.
Okay.
Awesome.
Where we remove barriers to opportunity so anyone who wants to start a business can have access to the tools and the resources they need to do that. I believe, and I said before to Nicole, I believe America's small businesses are an essential foundation to our entire economy. Think about it. Small businesses in our country want to expand, and we will, and this is very important, cut the red tape that can make starting and growing a small business more difficult than it needs to be. More difficult than it needs to be. For example, we will make it cheaper and easier for small businesses to file their taxes. Similar to how individuals can take a standard deduction. You know, I said to my team, kind of like, now I'm going to date myself again because they no longer do it, but kind of like you remember the 1040 EZ? Like that kind of idea, right? Like, let's just take away some of the bureaucracy in the process to make it easier for people to actually do something that's going to benefit our entire economy. Third, my plan will invest in small businesses and innovators throughout America. And here's why. We know that talent exists everywhere in our country, from rural towns to city centers. But not everyone has access to the financing, to venture capital, or expert advice. It's not that they don't have the skills. It's not that they don't have the work ethic. It's access to these resources. So under my plan, we will expand access to venture capital. We will support innovation hubs and business incubators. And we will increase federal contracts with small businesses. And we will have a particular focus on small businesses in rural communities, like right here in New Hampshire. Finally, my plan will make our tax code more fair while also prioritizing investment and innovation. So let us be clear. Billionaires and big corporations must pay their fair share in tax. Because here's the thing, it's just not right that those who can most afford it are often paying a lower tax rate than our teachers and our nurses and our firefighters. It's just not right. It's just not right. So that's why I support a billionaire minimum tax and corporations paying their fair share.
So, policy. And she explained what her policy would do.
I know, didn't you hear the plan? Because I heard the plan.
Okay, and here's the thing that they also say. I'm doing the Trump hand thing. He's clean.
The accordion hands.
The accordion hand. Is, they say, well, why hasn't she implemented these policies? Because she's the vice president and this isn't Biden's plan.
This is not yet the Harris administration.
Yes.
Okay.
So she cannot.
We're still in
do
the
that.
Biden administration. She's a member of the Biden administration, but until she is telling you what she wants to do when she has her administration.
Right. And didn't even she come out and say like she wanted to have a lower rate on capital gains than what Biden wanted to do? Like the tax rate.
Ooh, that I don't know.
No,
I'm not 100% on that.
She did.
Okay.
So she didn't want to go as far as Biden on the capital gains. Now, to all you listening that, you know, if you live in a trailer here in Kingman, capital gains has nothing to do with you. It will not affect you in the least.
Right. And just to say, like, so those clips that I played, I had to do those 3 separate ones because of the ads that kept popping in there. Isn't that crazy? Like they just put an ad right in the middle of the clip.
Oh yeah.
Just like, here you go. But you don't have to do that when you do a Trump clip.
Oh, they don't have ads pop up in the middle?
Not of the one I used to reference.
Maybe people don't want to advertise with that. Be associated with that.
Yeah, but isn't that them giving him free airtime then?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that's what it's about, is the media loves to give him airtime, even though they seem to criticize her more than him because they don't really go after all the wacky things that he says.
I know. I'm tired of it. And we already had a whole episode on media bias. And like now, I start and see it more and more. More and more now that we discussed it. And then I'm like, I'm not saying it was us, but I'm now it's almost like now that we discussed it, like you see the warnings.
The
Like
blinders
you
are
see,
off.
yeah, you're seeing all the shit that they're actually doing. I'm just tired of them sitting there going, I don't believe the liberal media. What are you talking about? What liberal media?
Yeah.
What? Then why aren't they out there touting how great Kamala is all the time, all day, every day?
Right, because they would think they would want her to win.
You would think. If they're the liberal media, right?
And all the shit like the polls, depending on which source you get, oh, Trump's still leading in the polls. Latest poll, they're tied. Well, she's leading in the polls, Hey, polls are bullshit for the most part.
Right. I don't even pay attention to them.
Because you're taking, say 100 random people, you're going to get a different result every time because it's going to be a different random 100 people.
Yeah. It's the polls are pretty much always going to be fucked.
Okay, to be fair,
we need to play the other side.
We need to say
what's Trump's plan?
Policy plan, and this is on a different subject, but this is on childcare, right?
Yes, and the reason why I pulled these two clips was because these both happened
this week.
Between this week. They were both asked about plans, but different policy plans. Yes.
Okay, so we have a policy plan.
So let's listen to his.
Okay.
And the final question, Resma, is to you.
Thank you. President Trump, you talked about how the increase in the price of food, gas, and rent is hurting families. But the real cost that's breaking families' backs and preventing women from participating in the workforce is childcare. Childcare is now more expensive than rent for working families and is costing the economy more than $122 billion a year, making it one of the most urgent economic issues that is facing our country. In fact, the cost of childcare is outpacing the cost of inflation, with the majority of American families of young children spending more than 20% of their income on childcare. One thing that Democrats and Republicans have in common is that both parties talk a lot about what they're going to do to address the childcare crisis, but neither party has delivered meaningful change. If you win in November, can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And if what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would do that, and we're sitting down. I was we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue. But I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that because look, childcare is childcare. There's something you have to have it in this country. You have to have it. But when you talk about those numbers compared to the kind of numbers that I'm talking about by taxing foreign nations at levels that they're not used to, but they'll get used to it very quickly. And it's not going to stop them from doing business with us, but they'll have a very substantial tax when they send product into our country. Those numbers are so much bigger than any numbers that we're talking about, including childcare, that it's going to take care of. We're going to have, I look forward to having no deficits within a fairly short period of time, coupled with the reductions that I told you about on waste and fraud and all of the other things that are going on in our country. Because I have to stay with childcare. I want to stay with childcare, but those numbers are small relative to the kind of economic numbers that I'm talking about, including growth, but growth also headed up by what the plan is that I just told you about. We're going to begin in trillions of dollars, and as much as child care is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kind of numbers we'll be taking in. We're going to make this into an incredible country that can afford to take care of its people, and then we'll worry about the rest of the world. Let's help other people. But we're going to take care of our country first. This is about America first. It's about make America great again. We have to do it because right now we're a failing nation. So So we'll take care of it. Thank you. Very good.
What were they clapping for? Because
Okay.
what in the actual fuck was the plan?
Okay, I've listened to him long enough that I sort of figured it out.
You think you got it? Huh?
I got it. Okay. So what he's talking about is increasing tariffs on foreign goods. Okay? So if China wants to, sell something here, you're going to raise taxes on it. In theory, raising taxes will bring more money into the economy or into government. Those taxes will go into government, and so then you could possibly fund these programs through those taxes. But here's the catch.
Won't it just make the goods cost more?
It will make the goods cost more. Because any business, if you're doing business 101, if the cost of doing business is higher, the price to the consumer is going to be higher.
Shouldn't he know this if he's a businessman?
Well, how many bankruptcies has he had?
Maybe this is why he's gone bankrupt.
Okay?
So many times.
It's fucking plain and just simple logic that I realize that a lot of people might not have.
Well, what's hilarious too. So it's hilarious how he keeps using the word tariff because he doesn't want to say tax. He doesn't want to say raising taxes. But tariffs are taxes.
Yeah.
It's like, I crack up off of like the way that politicians use words too. I mean, if you pay attention long enough, you can spot them.
Yeah.
You can you're like, I smell a little bullshit going on here.
Yeah. I'm not saying both sides don't do it.
No, I know. I'm saying politicians in general. I wasn't totally singling him out. But
now some people are more articulate at it. Like Obama, he could weave a string of bullshit together that would sound great. But this word salad on whatever Trump was trying to say here,
there was no plan there.
There's
that's
no
the thing that
plan.
was cracking me up because I'm like, okay, but there's no plan, and you guys sit there and rag on Harris. You're like, she doesn't have a plan for all these things. She laid out a plan, gave you numbers, gave you facts, gave you figures, gave you all that.
No.
Then he says this, and he's like out dancing, talking about tariffs, which has nothing to do with how are still what I don't understand. How is the tariffs going to pay for the child care anyways?
Okay. But to get
doesn't make sense.
But to get back to Harris, and again, this goes into the Biden administration also. In order to get these things implemented, it would have to pass Congress also. Right.
Well, yeah, we would need. We already know what the right would vote on all of it.
But this comes back to civics, though. Just like Congress didn't approve the mental health funding for high schools and schools in general and stuff like that, and just like
right,
kid board.
We're just talking about laying out a plan, though. That's all she's talking.
Yeah.
She laid out a plan. He did not do that. He fucking went off on some kind of dance. He was dancing.
Right, but that's what he does. But the media doesn't really report that Trump really has no plan.
Yeah, that's my problem with it. It's like, okay, I have no problem with the media calling Harris out. But for fuck's sakes, call out Trump too. Call out both sides. Be fucking unbiased. That's what I have a problem with.
Very true. Well, at least, though, we did have a case of somebody calling out Trump this week. And it wouldn't be who you think it would be. Do you want to introduce it?
Maybe this is the start of the dismantling of the cult?
Maybe.
Fingers crossed?
Yeah.
That maybe we'll get some of our people back to normalcy?
Yeah, okay.
All right.
He's admitting, he says, I
by a whisker. So what was the point? Like, what's the point of any of it? You lost in 2020? Seriously? What are we even doing anymore? Then you're a loser. Then you're a loser. You just lost. Then you lost to Joe Biden. You deserve to be charged. If he admits that he lost, then that actually vindicates the DOJ charge against him. Because the charge is that he knew he lost, but he lied to defraud the people. That's the DOJ's charge. So why did we do Stop the Steal? Why did anyone go to January 6th? Why is anyone sitting in jail? Why did anything bad happen to anybody? Why did everyone get censored? Why is everything bad that has happened to the people that are involved, why did that need to happen if you're just going to walk it all back and say, oh, I lost? Well, it would have been good to know that before 1,600 people got charged. It would have been good to know that before I had all my money frozen, put on no-fly list, banned from everything, lost all banking and payment processing. Would have been good to know that before I, in 2017, dedicated my life to this as an 18-year-old in college. Just feels like a big ripoff. And don't get me wrong, I'm an adult. It's not whining. I'm not complaining about it. I'm saying you can't say those things for that reason. Don't get me wrong. I don't regret anything, and we all make our choices. And look, it didn't work out. It is what it is. So I'm not mad saying I want those years back, I want those decisions back. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that just goes to show what a tremendous betrayal it is. It's just such a callous indifference to the sacrifices that his supporters made on his behalf.
So,
Nick Fuentes finally realizes that he was in a cult.
Right.
Like, he kept saying, why did these people do this? What? Because you fuckheads were in a cult. Like, that gets funnier every time I listen to it.
because you finally awoke to this guy.
What? Woke? What?
Yeah, Nick Fuentes is woke.
Oh, what? What?
Nick Fuentes is woke. He finally woke up to the idea that a proven liar who has lied his entire life and bankruptcies and everything else finally
And
gets
you
called
fucking
out for lying.
dumbasses still went ahead and believed him. Like, I don't feel sorry for you. I was laughing even harder this time about the whole, why did I get put on the no-fly list? Why did I have my bank frozen?
How did you make it down to Mar-a-Lago?
Like, probably had to drive, I guess. It's like, dude, I don't feel sorry for you. You guys are... I felt sorry for you at first, but then, like, everybody else, every normal, rational person trying to explain to you stuff, and you guys looked at us like we were weak, called us snowflakes, called us every other name in the books, called us liberals. Oh, we're crying liberal tears. Does that mean he was crying? Does that mean he was crying conservative tears just there?
Yeah. You know, all these states, that filed lawsuits because Trump wanted to, they should turn around and charge Trump for that. Hey, you just admitted you lied.
I know, they should. But how many of them are going to make up excuses? And we'll have to see what Mr. Fuentes goes with after a while. After this has been like a week, let's see if he's back in the cult and making excuses for it.
He's going to still vote for him.
Well, yeah, he's probably still going to. But let's see if he still fucking strokes him after this, because that's usually, like, they'll hear something. Every once in a while, they'll hear something that irritates them that Trump has done. But then they go and they watch Fox News, and Fox News cleans up the fucking shitstorm, and then they're back to, he's the greatest thing ever. They're back to headstrong in
And
the
they're,
cold.
and they're still setting it up like if Harris wins, it's going to be stolen.
Right.
They're already preparing for it.
I know. It's just, I mean, like, is he going to be? I hope that he does break from it, and I hope that he stays broken from it, and I hope that he breaks out other people.
Do you think he'll change his stance on Jewish people though?
No, he's always going to be a hateful piece of shit. But I mean, it's like baby steps.
Yeah. Think he'll accept that next dinner invitation?
Probably. I mean, that's probably all it would take is for, Trump to wine dine and 69 him down at Mar-a-Lago and everything will be okay again.
Yeah. And, it's just like anything. Like, it also came out this week that a lot of the, the people that defend him, the right-wingers, go on these shows, like Candace Owens' show, were paid by Russia. And Russia paid for a platform for these people to have videos and podcasts talking about this shit.
And they're all sellouts. I mean, they just want to make a buck.
Yeah.
They don't care that they have to compromise. Well, and they could actually believe a lot of their bullshit too, or it's like they've at least brainwashed themselves into believing the bullshit because the bullshit makes them money.
Well, I mean, but that's just kind of what they do. I mean, look at Brian Kemp of Georgia.
Right.
We'll rewind to that and go, he's going to support Trump. Even after
he already said he was.
All the shit that fucking Trump said about Kemp, he's just going to go kiss the ring.
He wants to move up in the Republican Party.
Well,
maybe he probably wants to run for president someday.
Well, guess what? I mean, I'm going to assume because we don't really believe in polls, but the way it seems like Harris is a lot more popular than Biden was the last election.
Definitely.
It seems that way. So, and if Trump lost by a whisker, I think he's going to lose by a whole lot more.
Maybe 2 whiskers?
2 whiskers, yeah. Because we do have to depend on, six states.
Right.
Georgia being one of them. So, on that note, we'll wrap this up. Maybe we'll give you a little bit post-debate coverage this week and stuff like that.
Yeah. Definitely going to watch the debate.
I don't think we're going to go a full week without you hearing from us again.
Right?
Yeah.
So busy.
Yeah. All right, so we'll talk to y'all later.
Bye, y'all.